This is an RNZ podcast.
It is midweek Mediawatch o'clock. Colin Peacock joining me from the studio in Wellington. Hello, Colin.
Bonsoir, mon ami.
Well, hello. How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm pretty good. Do you have a favourite mnemonic, Colin?
What you mean, like initial letter thingy?
Yeah. Like Roy G. Biv.
What's that? Is that the rainbow one?
That's a rainbow, yeah.
Not one that comes to mind.
I put you on the spot there. It's all right.
I thought you were going to ask me how often I go to the toilet.
How often do you go to the loo? How often do you go to the loo, Colin?
It varies wildly on my habits.
There we go. Excellent.
Time of day.
A whole lot of things.
That's right.
We don't need to get into that, do we?
Do you really need to know the answer to this? Private medical information on the air?
You brought it up. I suppose I did really in the first place, didn't I?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the media. Gee, big news yesterday. Another former titan of the New Zealand media landscape changes hands for the princely sum of $1, with Sky buying TV3. Good news for viewers in the end?
Well, 5 years after changing hands for about allegedly $20 million or more. We don't know the full sum of that. But yeah, clearly a good thing that it's not been folded. You remember when Bauer Media, the magazine publisher, when the COVID rolled in, the first lockdown, they just shut it down straight away. So, we're not doing this in this economy.
Didn't preserve the online records of a bunch of magazines either, right? Which have been lost for eternity.
Yes, I mean, some of them have returned, but the fact that Sky is a credible local ongoing media company is prepared to step in, that's good. Also good news that, just for viewers, the basic thing that there are free-to-air channels that they can watch if they're not subscribers, and that these channels, this Channel 3 and the one they already own, Sky Open, they show some free-to-air sport on there, and, things like HBO dramas that are also premium products. They screen them a few months down the track for free. In essence, clearly a good thing that Warner Brothers Discovery weren't prepared to keep this going, and someone is. So, on balance, a good thing.
Good for viewers, good for the industry?
Well, not in one sense, not for. TVNZ have been pointed out by the pundits as the ones that will now face a more direct competition. They benefited from the weakness of 3 as it was. But look, the interesting thing is Sky never depended that much on ads because they were all subscription-based in the past, apart from that formerly known as Prime TV Sky Open channel. Now they've got much more ambitious targets. They want roughly a third of, or a little bit more of, linear TV advertising in the New Zealand market, and about a quarter of the digital spend, which TVNZ is really targeting for the next 4 or 5 years. They've got a target of, I think, 150 million in digital income that they want through TVNZ Plus and things like that. So, but also all companies that rely on a slice of that advertising that doesn't go to the likes of Facebook and Google, they will feel a bit of pressure from this if Sky does aggressively use these 2 free-to-air channels it has now to get more linear TV advertising.
And you'd think that Sky would be in a fabulous position for that with the rights that they hold to prestige TV. I think they have the rights to all of the HBO stuff, right? Yeah,
but obviously they want to get the maximum from subscribers for that. The people who pay for it won't be happy if they just throw it out on air for free. It's often months down the track that they put on The White Lotus and stuff like that. But, I wonder, will they run both those channels in parallel, or might they close one down in the future if it works? If there isn't a goldmine of advertising and they're not meeting those targets, will they carry on with them? Just run one?
You're talking about Sky Go and 3 there, are you?
That's right. Sky Open is the
Sky Open. Sorry,
that's right. Yeah, so I wonder. But look, it remains to be seen. It was kind of interesting when Paul Goldsmith, the media minister, was asked for a soundbite, and he said, "Well, this is a good thing. We're seeing investment in the New Zealand media." And the reporter said, well, "What you mean, $1?" And
investment
he goes,
of
not the $1, but what he meant was, clearly that a company. You think of it, I don't know, like maybe it's the wrong analogy, but the caravan needs a tow, and Warner Brothers is unhitched from it and leaving the caravan is it going to rot by the roadside at the back end of the campground? And Sky says, "No, we will tow that wagon," but I wonder how far they'll tow it.
Poor old Channel 3 in that metaphor.
It wasn't quite what I meant, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. I have to say, Colin, it doesn't feel like a stable industry. Big companies changing hands for $1 is. It's novel, it's interesting. It also seems a bit, menacing.
Yeah, well, there has been a lot of change in management and direction and governance. So, we've had almost every week for a while we were talking about the NZME boardroom battle. I mean, that company is still as it was, but they do have new governors and a possible new direction. Might be, splitting up the assets of that particular company. Mediaworks, formerly that owned these TV channels as well as half the country's radio stations, that's now fully owned by the Aussie outdoor ad and billboard company QMS. They own that now. Stuff, as we know, recently sold half of its digital arm to Trade Me. So these are big deals. And we mentioned Bauer Media went under back in 2020. Some of those magazines were refloated. A new company based in Australia came out of that, R Media. That's up for sale as well. Just within the last, somewhere in the last fortnight, they announced that that's up for sale. No hurry about that, they say. But that's a lot. That's a lot of change. And my hope is that, the sector might be finding a stable form, that these companies have done a digital transition. Most of them at some point, they're getting some digital revenue.
Yeah.
Maybe the appeal of things that are taking eyeballs and advertising, Netflix, Google, Facebook, maybe that plateaus a bit. I don't know. No one really knows what's going to happen. But if we found a structure where it has consolidated a bit, some players have left, others have left it to the likes of QMS and Sky that are prepared to pick up these companies for not much and keep them going, take the staff on and keep the output going. Maybe we will find a smaller structure that is sustainable into the future.
Sky is saying it'll keep the 3 News bulletin, which is made for 3 News by Stuff. Are you surprised by this?
Not really, because Sky used to pay News Hub, if you remember, to make that first at 5:30 bulletin.
That's
that
right.
Eric Young used to, which was a bit weird because it was News Hub content screening first at 5:30, like before the 6 p.m. news of the outfit that was actually making it. Was a bit odd. But when asked about this on News Talk ZB, the Sky CEO, Sophie Maloney, she was asked, "You're going to cut this news, aren't you?" By Heather Duplessis-Allen, but she says, "No, we won't."
So, yeah, we're going to be keeping the news at 6, and we're excited about that partnership with Stuff going forward. Once this completes from the 1st of August.
How long has that deal got to run between TV3 and Stuff?
I'm not going to share that confidential information, but there's a decent period to run, which is great.
What's a decent period? Are we talking years or months? Because...
Yeah. Longer than months, Heather.
Longer than months. So we don't know what the exact horizon of that deal is. But yeah, for now it's good. And like we said earlier, people do have a choice. It's not just the one news. So yeah, the people that still press the 3 on their remote will find news there for the time being.
Yeah, there will be something there. That's good to hear. This deal also could mean more free-to-air sport on TV, on a Sky-owned TV3, which is exciting. But right now there's actually already some cricket on 3, isn't there?
Yeah, it's on it right now on the 3 Now app. They're not putting it on television. I think some of the matches they are showing because they're late at night. I think 10:30, 11 o'clock. ODIs and a triangular tournament in a T20 tournament in Zimbabwe. But last night the Black Caps beat South Africa. And I don't really follow cricket, but I would have thought, there'd be enough people that would tune in for that. But it really has gone under the radar. But yeah, it's on a channel called, I think, 3 Now Sport 3 on the 3 Now streaming app.
Did you say, 3 Now Sport 3 on the 3 Now?
Yeah, 3 Now Sport 3 on the 3 Now app. Yeah, I'm sure you could make a jingle around that.
It's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, but so you have to go to the live TV on the 3 Now app, get it that way. I think I looked at the schedule and I think some of the matches, maybe the one-day internationals later, are going to be on at night and into the small hours. But yeah, I would have thought there'd be more interest in the Black Caps playing international cricket over there and being able to see it for free. But some people appear not to be aware of it.
Yeah, probably the middle of the night thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Less great news for fans of netball.
Yeah, so TVNZ currently screens that ANZ Premiership, which used to be on Sky. That's the premier kind of pro netball competition. Still no broadcast deal for that. They've even shrunk the competition, I think made it shorter. So that's a lot of uncertainty for the sport and the players who depend on the broadcast revenue to, get paid and put the competition on. Nathan Rarere on Morning Report last Tuesday made the point that this was actually evident from the coverage of the fixtures in the weekend.
some subtle pressure went on from players and coaches over the weekend, that you could hear the aftermatch, comments from them going, it's great to be here, but we don't even know what's happening next year. And when I heard the third one of those, I thought, right, so this has really cut in with them, hasn't it? And they were talking about, look, the 2026 domestic league hasn't been finalised yet, particularly with the broadcast deal.
Yeah, so not great if you're watching coverage and the players are saying, don't know if we'll be playing this next year because no one wants to put it on television.
That's interesting. The ANZ Premiership final incidentally coming up this Sunday, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Mystics and the Tactics. There was some free-to-air TV broadcast coverage of Wrexham FC on tour on TVNZ on Sunday, Colin. I was interested in your thoughts on this. A genuine sports event or just hype because that team is owned by some Hollywood people?
That's right. I thought the former. In fact, I had forgotten the match was on the day. I was here at RNZ on Sunday doing some extra work diligently. Mike Wesley-Smith is here making a podcast for that.
I love that.
But then he mentioned it to Mark, the photographer, and I said, oh God. So I turned on the app and had a look at it. And actually, TVNZ did, there were 25,000 people odd in the stadium. And Chris Chang of TVNZ anchored the coverage, and they really pushed the boat out, did a real live performance. And Chris Chang is a real football fan. In fact, I looked at it. Apparently he's a big fan of its side called the Tottenham Hotspurs, who are apparently the best supported and most accomplished team in the northern part of London, which is an interesting little fact there.
I knew there was always something off about that fella.
These are your words, your opinions. But he was really funny, and they put together a kind of montage in the build-up saying most of these foreign football sides preparing for the European season are doing, warm weather training in the Gulf somewhere or in Europe. And he said, if you're wondering why they're here in Wellington, when they could have been somewhere warm, and this is what he put together for the viewers.
Summer in Europe? Nah, let's go to Wellington in winter. But it's all proof that with enough money, charm and chaos, you can absolutely write your own football story of success. All it takes is two celebrities, a documentary and a financial strategy that screams, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I reckon the Wrexham strategy is a bit more figured out than that. But that bit about Wellington,
great.
That was accompanied by pictures of Wellington at its absolute worst. It was like Custom House Quay with those lampposts that bend in the wind. And when the wind is so strong that it flips open the catches of those little aluminium cages and the doors that hold the litter bins in, so they're flapping around on their hinges, or the little plastic bin inside, is cartwheeling down Custom House Quay through the puddles. It was very good. It was really well done. Also a bit of loose and funny commentary from Scotty Stevenson, because the second half, the Phoenix chucked on some of their academy, including a former primary school classmate of one of my own kids, Lachlan Candy, who was playing there and taking the corner kicks.
Chastening.
Did really well. But the goalie was, I think, 17, and Paul Eiffel, the former sort of Phoenix legend on the co-coms, couldn't believe it.
You say 17 years old? Is that right?
Well, that's what I've written down. I'll probably get a call from someone saying he's 34 and he's got 5 children. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so for a friendly, I think they were quite loose in their commentary. Yeah. It clearly wasn't a life or death match, but the best bit of commentary, this one's done the rounds from the Weekend Sport. I just wanted to hear it again. I enjoyed it so much. This is Vossi. I don't watch the NRL, but he's apparently an Aussie League legend, and the
Andrew
voice
Voss,
is extremely familiar. No, Vossi. They just call him Vossi. I think that's his real name.
It is. He's changed it by deed poll, hasn't he?
Yeah, when you're that famous as your nickname. I thought Australians put no on the end. Should you get Vossi? I don't know, for the league. But anyway, he went totally into orbit when the Warriors scored that amazing last-minute try against Newcastle.
Stupendous moment! Rugby league! You undefeated, beautiful thing! Oh, that was unbelievable.
That's glorious. That's glorious. I have nothing but admiration for that.
I wonder how loud he was actually shouting, whether they've got some sort of filter there. I mean, but I love the combo. It sounds you've got the conch shell. That's a Warriors thing, isn't it? Must have been playing over the PA, and then the sort of flat buzz of the crowd, and then his his absolute performance. But I mean, in the end, a little bit shouty for me. I like a bit of white space, the commentators that can let it breathe rather than just bellowing stuff out. So I got one for you. I just want to see if this one moves you. This is from the FA Cup final. This is back in May, the English FA Cup final. The underdogs of Crystal Palace taking on the kind of petro-state client club Manchester City, the heavy favourites, and on Albanian TV, turns out their commentator was a real fan of Crystal Palace and he absolutely lost it when Palace won 1-0.
Crystal Palace bön historien fiton FA Cup kompetitioni më të hershëm të futbollit të botë dhe lotën e tifozëve të Crystal Palace në tribunat e Wembley.
It's beautiful. I don't know. I didn't understand a word.
Well, there was Wembley at the end. I think there was Wembley Stadium in Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace.
There's a great video, Colin. I must send it to you, which is of the past maybe 5 or 6 World Cup winners. The national commentary from that country when the final whistle is blown. So like when Spain won the World Cup, the Spanish TV commentary when the final whistle gets blown, and then Italy in 2006, and then Germany in 2014. It's marvellous. I think that you thoroughly enjoy
all mashed together.
Well, no, sorry, one after the other, just to sort of compare and contrast. It's
pity, although it wasn't the World Cup, it's pity you couldn't put that Iceland one against England.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That guy lost his mind. But again, that's the shouty one. I prefer the raw emotion, the tears.
Maggie Thatcher.
The tears and snot of the Albanian Crystal Palace fan.
Speaking of sports commentators with a sense of style, you were hanging out for my weekly chat with Jamie Wall this week, the stylish, devastatingly handsome Jamie Wall. Why were you so excited about this, Cole?
Oh, it's just always good. I listen every... No. I was looking for a bit more of the Frenchification, because do you remember you talked to Hayden about Mike Hosking on ZB going all Frenchified and using the word frisson. But Jamie Wall, he put on a spectacular French accent for you to bring to life the words of a rugby reporter from L'Equipe, the French sports paper. His lyrical description of Dunedin, let's just remind people what that sounded like.
This town... she feels like a widow. She has lost her glory, her beauty, and she knows she will never get it back to find another. Wow.
About the city of Dunedin.
So there, it's not quite the Albanian Crystal Palace guy, but it moved you, I could tell there. But,
oh, definitely.
But after the test in Hamilton, Jamie posted a similarly artistic online, similarly artistic or even philosophical reflection from, I assume, a different French rugby hack. It might have been the same guy.
It wasn't. It was different. You're quite
different.
Right.
Okay, about the brutalism of Hamilton. Now, I said, oh, good, he's talking about it when you mentioned it on the air, but I thought it would be Jamie reading it again in that spectacular cod French accent, but you read it out. And not in a French accent.
No, I didn't do it in a French accent. I think you have to be careful about accents, Colin.
But you can do it. You can.
Well,
you can do it. I know.
Despite my name, I'm not actually French.
I don't care because I've heard you do it. In fact, we've got evidence that you can do Frenchified. We can roll the tape on that.
Kia ora, Emile Donovan here from RNZ Tonight's programme, where last night I was talking to Hippothy Valentine about his penchant for building colossal structures and then burning them. There you go, busted. Busted, you got me. Penchant.
Vous avez un penchant pour la langue française, oui, mon ami, Emile? Non?
Do you speak a bit of French, Cole?
No, my sister lives there a little bit. I can just do the voice. If you asked me to translate a sentence, I probably couldn't do it. But I can give you a fun fact also from my own family. My dad filmed France playing Waikato and Hamilton in 1961, July the 15th, almost to the day of that test in Hamilton. And Waikato beat France 22-3, and he has lovely film of it. I think it's archive worthy of people throwing their hats in the air and running onto the field at the end in a time when you probably didn't do that. It probably wasn't good.
It wasn't
manners.
a done thing, isn't it? Yeah. We have about 30 seconds left. You want to give the ODT a shout out?
I do. This is also about use of the Frenchification. A teenage riot or mini riot or something in the hamburger restaurant known as McDonald's on George Street in Dunedin. You've probably been in there yourself in your day. This was headlined by the ODT. Man spat on by teens in Macca's fracas. So that's using the old French words for conflict, which the media loves to do. The only problem is that Macca's and fracas doesn't actually rhyme in that circumstance. It's either Macca's fracas or Macca's fracas. But still, beautiful use of French conflict words in a headline.
The internal monologue, indeed. Colin Peacock, thank you.